handcuffed, face down, knee on his neck. They did nothing. He called the officers sir. They did nothing. He begged for his life. He begged for water. He begged for mercy. They did nothing. His nose bled. His body trembled. He lost control of his bladder. They did nothing. He cried out, I can't breathe. And they did nothing. 12 more times. I can't breathe. 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 They did nothing. One last time he gasped, I can't breathe. They did nothing. He lost consciousness. They did nothing. A firefighter demanded they check his pulse. They did nothing. Off-duty medical personnel begged them to stop. They did nothing. Deprived of oxygen, his organs screaming, his brain frantic, they did nothing. They watched George Floyd die. His life fading, a slow death, they did nothing. A lynching on the ground, they did nothing. For 8 agonizing minutes, 4 officers watched. He cried out for his mom, a grown man crying out for the woman who gave him life, as he feared joining her in death, and still they did nothing. A black man, a gentle giant, murdered because he was black, and still they've done nothing. Probable cause exists. A double standard exists. The officers should be arrested, and still they've done nothing. Rest in peace, George. May justice be served.
Searching every corner of my mind, looking for the answers I can't find. I have my reasons and life has its lessons. I try to be grateful and count all my blessings, but heavy is the head that wears the crown. amen in Jesus' name, yes I declare it. Any little seed I receive, I have to share it. Brothers wanna break me down, I can't bear it. But heavy is the head with the crown, I still wear it. You can't hold me down, I still cold. Rain falling down at the bricks, I'm still soaked. Try to put a hole in our ship, we'll build boats. Two birds with one stone. Searching every corner of my mind, looking for the answer.
Is Black Lives Matter having its Me Too moment? Joining us now, the broadcaster, podcaster, George the Poet. Nice to see you in here, George.
Thank you very much.
Has this level of engagement surprised you?
Not at all. It's very rare that you'll watch someone being murdered for 9 minutes, very slowly. It was obviously broadcast all over, and you have to understand there are significant parallels, disturbing parallels between the Black British experience and the African American experience. 40% of the poorest households in this country are Black, whereas only 4% of the country is Black. Black and brown people account for half of all young people in jail right now, in a period in which the population of young offenders has fallen by over 2/3 over the past 13 years, with the proportion of young offenders, Black young offenders, doubling in that same period, whereas their white counterparts have seen a roughly 70% fall in their numbers in youth offender institutes. So it's very interesting that we have these parallels, and very timely, very appropriate that we stand in solidarity.
That was what I was going to say. Is it about solidarity with fellow citizens in America, or is it about change here? Because you described the video brought out a visceral disgust for people, but you think it's more about a fundamental disillusionment with life here?
I don't think it's either or. It's not solidarity with the American experience or change over this side. There was a young man from my estate that I was in primary school with. His name's Julian Cole. He was, for some reason, accosted by 5 officers outside of a nightclub in Bristol. Not Bristol, Bedford. It was the Bedfordshire Constabulary that was responsible for this. He, in a scuffle, had his neck snapped. He was carried over across the road to a police van, limp, in a vegetative state eventually. Now, it was found out retroactively that he could have been saved from being in a vegetative state. He could have been saved from the brain damage which he incurred as a result of that interaction, had the police not kept him in that van for approximately half an hour, which they then lied about in court. Guess how many convictions that debacle ended in? None. There's been no jail time doled out for police in this country over deaths in custody. Also interesting to note that Black people are twice as likely to die in police custody as their white counterparts in this country. So this is very real. The need for change is overdue.
Do you see this as a, I use the phrase, a sort of a Me Too moment for Black Lives Matter? Does this need everyone, as it were, to get what's happening?
It does need everyone to get what's happening. All credit to the Me Too movement. It's been highly educational for myself and for an entire generation, hopefully. It's tragic that 60 to 70 years after the highly publicized civil rights movement in America, we still need to educate and sensitize everyone. You would have thought everyone was aware.
But you're not putting America and Britain on the same footing. I mean, I heard that very moving, horrific account. But our police aren't armed, they don't have guns. The legacy of slavery is not the same. We've had a report many years ago looking at institutional racism, and you would hope reversing or aiming to open that up. It's not the same, is it?
If it's not the same, then you have to explain to me why Julian Cole is not an exception. What happened with Nunu Cardozo? What happened with Edmund DaCosta? What happened with Sarah Reed, who died under very similar circumstances with Sandra Bland in the American context, right? This is contemporary. When you talk about the history of race relations, you have to consider the role of the British Empire, as I've spoken about extensively on the African continent, and the political and economic consequences of that interaction. What is the situation that we're dealing with today? This is very contemporary, and I hope this is a learning point for many people who think along the lines that you just expressed, that this is an American and not a British issue.
Okay, George, thank you. Thanks very much for coming in.
Searching every corner of my mind. Search every corner, look for the answers. Looking for the answers I can't find. I can find them, no silver lining. I have my reasons, life has its lessons. Try to be grateful and count all my blessings, but heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Check your privilege. Put a finger down if you've been called a racist name. Put a finger down if you've been followed in a shop for no reason. Put a finger down if someone has crossed the street to avoid passing you. Put a finger down if you've had someone clench their belongings because you sat next to them on a bus. Put a finger down if you've had someone move from the seat next to you on the bus to keep from being too near. Put a finger down if you've had fear in your heart when you've been stopped by the police. Put a finger down if you've been detained, searched and interrogated at an airport without due cause. Put a finger down if you have been physically assaulted because of a stereotype. Put a finger down if you've been bullied solely because of your race or religion. Put a finger down if you've been denied a service solely because of your race or religion. Put a finger down if you've ever had to teach your child how not to get killed by the police. Any fingers left? That's privilege. You just chase your dreams, you don't even take the time to sleep. But don't forget to breathe, don't forget to breathe. You just chase your dreams, you don't even take the time to sleep. But don't forget to breathe, don't forget to breathe. You just chase your dreams, you don't even take the time to sleep. But don't forget to breathe, don't forget to breathe. And when you're down and you're up, just hold on please. Or just close your eyes and count to 3. And don't forget to breathe, don't forget to breathe. You just chase your dreams, you don't even take the time to sleep. But don't forget to breathe, don't forget to breathe.
And when you're down on your luck, just hold on please. So just close your eyes and count to 3. And don't forget to breathe. Don't forget to breathe.
Don't forget to breathe. Don't forget to breathe.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Kev on stage, and I first want to say my thoughts and prayers go out to the Dallas police officers who lost their lives and their family members last night. Contrary to popular belief, you can be both pro-Black Lives Matter, anti-police brutality, and sick to your stomach when somebody goes out and targets police. Just like I'm a heterosexual man who was sick to my stomach when somebody went to a gay club in Orlando and targeted them. I'm not gay, and I still felt awful for them. I'm not a police officer, and I still feel awful for them and their family members. And that leads me to the problem with All Lives Matter. The main problem with All Lives Matter is it's a response to Black Lives Matter. People are assuming Black Lives Matter means only Black Lives Matter when it really means Black Lives Matter too. All Lives Matter seems to spring up only as a response to Black Lives Matter. All of a sudden, we're looking around in America and Black people are dying disproportionately at the hands of police and neighborhood watchmen and off-duty police and retired police and people who join the police force for just a week. And we're like, hey guys, we're dying out here, you know, Black Lives Matter too. And then the next thing you hear is, all lives matter though. Agreed, but Black people are dying a lot more now. Can you agree that all lives matter and then kind of help with the Black people who are dying? All lives matter is like your house catching on fire, you calling the fire department coming, pouring water in your house, and your neighbor saying, hey, all houses matter. Yeah, but my house is on fire, so do you want to grab a hose or do you want to shut up? Wouldn't all lives matter include Black lives? Like, is there no correlation that Black lives can be included in the all lives matter? If your all lives matter, I'll give you that. But can't you agree that something's wrong in what's happening to Black people? So you want to march or want to watch my house burn down? God forbid Harambe the gorilla died and you are totally up in arms. All lives should matter all the time, which is why Black lives matter too. I hope this is now clear. Whoever killed those police officers last night deserves justice. See how I'm not a police officer and I know that police lives matter too? That even though a portion of them are killing Black men unarmed, I know that not all of them are doing it, and therefore I don't believe any police officer deserves to be gunned down. That's how all lives matter should work, but it's usually just, hey, Black lives matter people, shut up. So when you speak up and say all lives matter only when Black people die, you don't think all lives matter. We say Black Lives Matter to remind you that they do.
When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. Oh, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, or the mountain should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. And darling, darling, by me. Stand by me, stand by me. Whenever you're in trouble, won't you stand by me? Oh, stand by me. Whoa, stand now. Oh.
And we are so thrilled because you've agreed to do a poem for us tonight, and we're going to see this now. It's going to finish the show for us. Benjamin, thank you so much.
Increase the peace.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
To walk to talk to cry and rely on. People will always need people. To love and to miss, to hug and to kiss. It's useful to have other people. To whom will you moan if you're all alone? It's so hard to share when no one is there. There's not much to do when there's no one but you. People will always need people. To please, to tease, to put you at ease. People will always need people. To make life appealing and give life some meaning. It's useful to have other people. If you need to change, to whom will you turn? If you need a lesson, from whom will you learn? If you need to play, then you'll know why I say, people will always need people. As girlfriends, as boyfriends, from Mumbai to Ostend, people will always need people. To have friendly fight with and share tasty bites with, it's useful to have other people. People live in families, gangs, posses and packs. It seems we need company before we relax. So stop making enemies and let's face the facts. People will always need people. Oh yeah, people will always need people. Oh yeah.